Yeah, bud.
Hello, Internet. This is Eric. You may know me from my zombie-themed jam band, The Grateful Undead. Today, we're going to learn how to write a drum chart for Mohsin Zaman's Darkest Days. This is a self-described ambient world rock chart, so there's a few things to keep in mind. First of all, having clear expectations here is going to help you out a lot. Because rock is such a common genre with so many styles and interpretations, there are many correct ways to play songs that might not be the right way. Telling a drummer to play rock could mean that you're looking for someone to sound like Neil Peart, Ringo Starr, John Bonham, Levon Helm, Chad Smith, Carter Beauford, Travis Barker, Stuart Copeland, or Animal. So allowing your drummer some insight into your tastes will be immensely helpful for getting your desired sound. In this case, I know that Mohsin likes his drums to be rock solid. At the open mic where we met, he will frequently beatbox the drum part to me before we start. To me, this is singer-songwriter code for "this is the part," in the same way that the riff in Seven Nation Army is the part, in the same way that the bass line to Under Pressure is the part. You wouldn't change or improvise these lines, they are the part. Similarly, we're going to want to establish the drum part and assure that we're not implying too much variation. Conventions are always going to vary from community to community, or in this case from artist to artist, but if I was playing with your band, this is roughly what I'd want to see. So now for the first question when it comes to notating any drum chart. At first glance, this song can appear to be more simple than it actually is. A drummer who isn't paying attention might miss things like the occasional sneaky 7-bar phrase or the single bar of 2/4 in our bridge. When your chart has a lot of repeating parts, these can be easy to overlook, so let's emphasize them a little bit. Nothing's going to destroy your song faster than a drummer who missed a bar of 2. In fact, a friend of mine once said, if you have a bad guitarist, it sounds like you have a bad guitarist. If you have a bad singer, it sounds like you have a bad singer. But if you have a bad drummer, it sounds like you have a bad band. We have a long bridge in this tune, so rather than have our drummer read an odd number of unmarked bars, we're going to divide this area into smaller sections, adding descriptors as needed. Now, I've seen a lot of terms that try to define what the part after the second chorus is called, so I'm going to go ahead and define what these terms mean to me in the way that I've seen them used in my own experience with rock music. So first off, we have a solo, which is generally a section dedicated to a single lead instrument. Usually improvised and generally repeated until cued out, the lead guitar is usually going to be the one soloing in a rock context. Then there's the soli, a section dedicated to multiple lead instruments. Very common in big band music, these parts are written out and rehearsed ahead of time and have a set length. In a rock context, the term is rarely used, but can be used to describe most harmonized guitar lines. So think of, let's say, the intro to The Trooper by Iron Maiden. Then we have bridge, which is a vocal section that contrasts with the verse and the chorus, generally with a new chord progression or feel than the previous section. This definition does not hold true for jazz and classical music, however, as they use the term bridge differently. We also have instrumental breaks, which are short musical sections that are generally used to transition between the other two sections. Finally, we have the term interlude, which to me is a musical catch-all, generally used when the terms that I previously mentioned fail to cover an accurate description. I've seen this used interchangeably with almost all of the terms above. Other than that, this form is going to be fairly simple. We've got an intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outro form, which, while only slightly unusual, will be easy enough to follow. As usual, it is fine to have your hi-hat, snare, and kick all sharing a stem, but as a rule of thumb, I group my drum parts as being static versus non-static. As previously mentioned, Mohsin has a drum capital P part for this song. As such, we're going to transcribe it note for note and use repeat signs, not slashes, to ensure that our drummer knows not to get too outside of the box with this rhythm. Having said that, a good drummer will know how to interpret this to ensure that a verse or chorus will always feel like they should. Maybe a second snare for the verse or chorus, maybe a slightly different dynamic. Either way, these things aren't necessarily important to write in unless you specifically need that sound. More often than not, adding unnecessary ornamentation details will clutter up a page and rarely benefits the person trying to read it. I find that horn players will struggle the most with this, as well-written horn chart will always generally be detailed and exact, and drummers tend to look for the opposite. Either way, the focus here should be a tight fundamental sound while the drums play a supportive role. So I suggest writing the bare minimum and allowing our drummer to naturally evolve the groove. Drummers will naturally add fills as needed. Don't write fills unless you're absolutely sure that you need them there, and don't notate your fills unless you're absolutely sure that you need that sound. It's a little bit like notating a specific solo or walking bass line. Your drummer can probably fill better than you can. As you can imagine, I won't be writing any fills for this one. A clever drummer will be able to determine where to play cues to make things more effective, but nothing specific really has to be written in. The form is going to do that work for us. I always recommend re-listening during notation for clarity's sake, but having listened through this one gets a quick and easy pass. Other than a few minor formatting and optimizations, we've got a complete chart that's ready to go. So let's trim some fat, make it look nice, throw a title and artist on there, and give it a read. Okay, we now have a nice legible drum chart that I'd be proud to show the house musicians at my local open mic night. I won't ask you to like, comment, and subscribe, but as a personal favor to me, you could write a nice drum chart instead of opting to do your set as a solo act. Once again, please show some love to the artists who were kind enough to let me use their music. This is Mohsin Zaman's Darkest Days off of his album Fly Home. So, have fun, practice hard, don't explode, and I will see you all next time.